And welcome back, everybody. We're glad you are here joining us for Wednesday Night Live. It's the last Wednesday of September. It's the 5th week and final week of our series called Exiles. We're really glad you took the time to join us. Whether you're watching from home or if you're here at the building at our watch party, we just want you guys to know we love you. It's going to be a great night, and we've got a lot of fun things to share and to do together. So we want to make sure everybody knows that we are still doing a weekly DoorDash prize for everyone that comments in the comment section during this premiere. We do one prize a week, and to enter to win, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or you're watching here at the building, just log on from your phone or computer, comment in the comment section during the video, and you'll be entered to win our weekly prize. So yes, even if you're here at the building, you can get your phone out, go to YouTube or Facebook, comment during the video, interact, have some fun, and then you're gonna be entered into our weekly DoorDash prize, where we'll send food right to your house for free for you to enjoy. We want to make sure everybody knows that we have launched a group of awesome weekly clubs. So every Sunday at 2 o'clock, we've got soccer, volleyball, and basketball. Every Tuesday, we've got Minecraft. We've got 2 Minecraft clubs Tuesdays, and we've got a tabletop role-playing board game club on Tuesdays as well. We've got some monthly clubs like Polynesian dance and photography, and some new things on the works as well. So make sure you're watching out for our weekly newsletter. You can follow us on social media as well. You can also go to the church website, severnrun.com/campfires, for more information about our weekly and monthly club opportunities. And we got a Wednesday running club at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure if I mentioned that one, but a lot of really awesome opportunities for you to get out of the house, do something fun with your friends, and hang out with us and our amazing team of leaders. So we want to encourage you and challenge you, invite a friend, come to our clubs, hang out, and have some fun. Tonight we've got small groups online at 7:45 to about 8:15 on Zoom. If you need the information, message us. That is also in our weekly newsletter, which is in our Instagram bio, so you can check it there or check your email. If you're here at the building, then we're gonna have some small groups in person tonight for you to enjoy and hang out and talk. We've got some fun things coming up. It's almost time for October. I think tomorrow is when October starts. I don't know about you, September flew by, but October is here, and we're about to launch a new exciting series. You're gonna see some promotions for that over the weekend, so keep an eye out for that. But a new month and a new series means we've got a new subscription box about to come out. So between now and next Wednesday, you are gonna get a box delivered to your door. We had about 84 or 85 students sign up for the subscription box. So 84, 85 of you are gonna get one of these sent right to your door. You're gonna love everything inside of it. We encourage you to take some photos, tag us on social media, and let us know what you think. So if it's not too late to sign up, it probably is too late to get the October box. But we're doing this every single month. So if you or somebody you know would love to get a subscription box, then tag them, send them the link, and they'll be ready to get one for November, which will be here before you know it. So we're glad you guys are here with us. We've got some games, worship, and a message tonight. Comment along for a chance to win a prize. Join us for our clubs every week. And don't forget, if you haven't already, sign up for our subscription box and keep an eye out, because you'll be getting one very soon. All right, we're gonna jump right in. This first game is called the YouTube Showdown. You guys are gonna watch 2 YouTube videos, and you have to decide which video has the most views. So enjoy each video, and you can laugh and comment along, tell us what you think, but most importantly, you need to tell us which video, number 1 or number 2, has the most views on YouTube. If you've seen some of them before, maybe you'll see some old favorites in here. Some of these are a little older, but they're a ton of fun. So enjoy the videos and tell us which video do you think, number 1 or number 2, has the most views. Let's go ahead and jump right in.
Keep working! You keep walking!
Mais pra frente, Dora! Ai!
All right, this next game is called Emojified Movies. So you guys are gonna look at some emojis on the screen and try to be the first person to tell us what movie is represented and decoded by the emojis on the screen. So you wanna be quick, you wanna be accurate, try and gain some, well, I mean, there's no like prize for this, but you get to feel really good when you get it right. So enjoy the challenge and let's jump into our very first question. Here we go. All right, we got 3 emojis on the screen. I think you guys probably know this one pretty quick. I just watched this movie actually last week, the original. I have not seen the live action. You guys probably know the answer is Aladdin. That's a great movie, classic. I think personally top 5. Yeah, would you guys put it in your top 5 original like animated Disney movies? I'd probably put it in my top 5. All right, next one. All right, we've got some animals and a microphone. I think I know this one, so you guys type your answer in the comment section. Let us know what you think. My kids love this movie. This movie is called Sing, right? Yes, Sing. All right, great movie. I mean, you know, it's kind of an instant classic with some fun soundtrack going on. Third one, question 3. I think this could be a couple movies. So I think there's a penguin and there's dancing. Right? Isn't there more than one movie with a penguin dancing? I think this movie is Happy Feet. Right? I think it's Happy Feet. Yes. Okay. I've not seen this movie before, but I know that Happy Feet was a movie about dancing penguins. Number 4. Yep, I know this one. This is another classic. I'm actually not a huge fan of this movie, so no disrespect to those who love it. I'm also not a huge fan of spaghetti. Like, it's okay, but like I wouldn't like, I don't know, do you guys like spaghetti? Like, is this, where is spaghetti in your like rank of food? Like, where do you put spaghetti? I'm not a huge fan. But this movie is Lady and the Tramp, so good job for getting that one right. Okay, here we go, question 5. Well, I know this one. Yeah, I did like almost say it out loud for a second, but this is a great movie. I love this movie. I know it kind of freaks some people out, Well, I know some people that were traumatized by this movie as a kid. I don't know why, because it's an amazing movie. It's called E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Yeah, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Great movie. Number 6. What? Okay, so that's Santa Claus, and it looks like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. It's Santa and an elf. Yes, okay, got it. Don't overthink it, you guys. You know, emoji movies, you kind of get like overthink what's going on. But let's jump question 7. You guys probably know it. Write it in the comment section. Joker and the Bat, first person to write it. But I'm pretty sure this is Batman. Yeah, it's Batman. Batman and the Joker. Tell us who your favorite Joker is or your favorite Batman, because there's been a ton of both of those characters, a ton of Batman. There is a new one coming out with Robert Pattinson, so that'll be really interesting.
Of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night. Can you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone? You're a good, good father. It's who you are, it's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. Searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. Perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am.
we're going to finish up this series with the story back to Daniel, who kind of started this whole thing out. We're going to look at Daniel now. This is jumping years later, like way into the future. In fact, a lot of things have happened in the book of Daniel between the fiery furnace and this next story. In fact, Babylon isn't even in charge anymore. Right? Isn't that kind of crazy? Like, if you think about it, if you're a history fan or you're just like kind of learning about this kind of ancient civilizations, Babylon was the biggest, baddest until they weren't. Right? That's kind of how it goes. Like, you're the biggest, baddest nation in the area until you're not. Until somebody comes in, kicks your butt, and then they're the biggest and the baddest. So at this point, we're looking at the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire is pretty famous. It's kind of this middle between, like the Egyptians. You had Israel and other nations in there, and then you get Babylon, and then you get the Persians, and then you get into the Greek and Roman Empire. So we're kind of getting there. If you guys kind of picture that line in history, this is the Persian Empire. Came in, kicked Babylonian butt, and now we're looking at Daniel, who is at this point probably a pretty old man. He's not a teenager anymore. This is like Daniel. You guys could almost picture Daniel with a nice white beard, I'd imagine. Maybe he didn't have a beard. Maybe a really nice like wizard's hat. That's probably not right either. We'll go with a beard. That makes more sense. Daniel's an older guy. We're looking at Daniel chapter 6. Daniel is still working in the court of the king. Not the king he used to work for. Daniel is so good at his job that when the Persians took over, the new rulers looked at Daniel and they're like, this guy is staying. Like, you work for us now. I'm the captain now. But Daniel, you're going to stay. You're going to work. So we're looking at Daniel chapter 6. And we're looking at this thing where, this story where they come in, they set up this new government, put all the Babylonian stuff aside. And they look at Daniel and they're like, hey man, we want you to be like probably top 3 in control of this region. And Daniel does such a good job. They are actually making plans to put him like number 1 over this whole group of people. And the other administrators, the other assistant rulers were once again very jealous of Daniel. Like, they're jealous of how good he is. And so we're looking in verse 4, they tried to find some fault in the way that Daniel was handling government affairs, the way he was doing his job, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. He was faithful, he was always responsible, Daniel was completely trustworthy. So they concluded in verse 5, our only chance of finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in the connection with the rules of his faith. It's really interesting, right? So these guys have been watching Daniel, like taking notes. They're watching him and what is he doing? What's he not doing? Is he like telling lies? Is he keeping any money for himself? Daniel's doing everything right. And they're realizing, you know what? If there's one thing we can get him on, is that Daniel is very, very into worshiping God. Like, that's kind of his big thing, right? So maybe there's some place where we can use Daniel's faith to get him in trouble. It's weird that they want to use that, but here's their plan. They go and get the king, and they say, King, this is the Persian king now, not the Babylonian king. Say, King, you are so awesome, right? You're a big deal, you're the king. What if we came up with a new law? Because you're so great, that for the next 30 days, everyone is only allowed to worship and pray to you because you're number 1, you're the best. And anybody that worships or prays to another person or another god, they will be thrown into a lion's den, like literally a hole in the ground that's full of lions who are not fed a lot of food. So when a person gets thrown in there, they are they're a chicken nugget really, really fast to those lions. And that's their plan, right? So you can only, for the next 30 days, King, we're only going to worship and pray to you. Anybody that prays and worships to another person or another god, thrown into the lion's den. This is Daniel 6, verse 9. The king signed the law. I wonder, I feel pretty confident if I was king or president or whatever, I wouldn't make people worship me. But I do wonder, and would love for you guys to tell us in the comments, if you were king, queen, or president, whatever title you'd like, what is one rule or one law that you would pass? Like, let's go ahead and say, you're the president of the United States of America. What is a rule or a law that you would, executive order sign today, immediately goes into effect? Tell us in the comment section or tell somebody sitting next to you what you think. So the king, he kind of hears this speech, nods his head, signs the law. Okay. But verse 10, Daniel, when he learned that this law had been signed, right? So Daniel is now hearing the news about this new law that, one, you can only pray to the king for the next 30 days. Oh, and they put this little note in there that no one is allowed to change this law. Even the king cannot go back on his word and change the law. Like, they made sure to add that in there. So Daniel hears about this. What does he do in verse 10? And he's just kind of like, bah, right? Like, he doesn't care. Verse 10, he hears about the law. He goes home. He kneels down as usual with his windows towards Jerusalem, and he prays 3 times a day, just as he always did, giving thanks to his God. Again, Daniel's just like, bah, don't care about your new law. I'm going to go home like I always do. I'm going to sit where I always sit, and I'm going to pray to the God I love like I always do. That's what I know is the right thing to do, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. He has no guilt, right? Daniel has no like second thoughts. It's just his immediate reaction to this new law is to go home and pray about it. But this is exactly what the evil officials wanted. So they were watching Daniel. They were over at his house in verse 11, and they found him praying, which is exactly what they knew was going to happen. So they rush in verse 12 right back to the king, and they remind him, King, didn't you sign a law that said that for the next 30 days, any person that prays to someone other than you needs to be thrown into the lion's den? He was like, yeah, and you know, that's a law, so that's still happening. They said, well, that guy Daniel, one of the captives, one of the exiles, he's ignoring you and your law. He still prays to his God 3 times a day. Again, tattletales, setting up to get Daniel and his friends in trouble. Verse 14, hearing this, the king was actually deeply troubled. The king really, really liked Daniel, and he tried to think of a way to save him. He spent the rest of his day looking for a way to get Daniel out of this predicament. Again, Daniel never did anything wrong. He was really good at his job. He was trustworthy. He was faithful. You know, he was somebody that worked really, really hard for the Babylonians, and then the Persians came in, and Daniel's life is all crazy all over again. But Daniel worked really hard and did a good job for the Persians too. So like, there's nothing not to like about Daniel, and the king is a really big fan. So he is heartbroken. He's freaking out. He's like, Daniel's awesome. I gotta find a way around this. So he spends the whole day looking for a way to get Daniel out of trouble. But by the evening, the men came together with the king and said, Your Majesty, you know that according to the law, no law that the king signs can be changed. You signed this law. It can't be changed. You got to do it. So, verse 16, at last the king finally gave orders for Daniel to be arrested and thrown into the lion's den. And the king said to him, May your God, whom you serve so faithfully, rescue you. And a stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the lion's den after they threw Daniel in there. And they put a seal on it so nobody would mess with it. Basically like, hey, this lion's den is occupied. There's a person in there being chewed on. Don't come over here. The king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He also refused his usual entertainment, and he couldn't sleep at all. So basically the king, after reluctantly arresting Daniel, throwing him into the lion's den, he goes home. He doesn't eat dinner. He doesn't have any entertainment that night, whatever that could be. And he couldn't sleep. He just felt horrible. He felt awful. He was just probably sick to his stomach. Like, what have I done? Why did I sign that dumb law? What is wrong with me? Very early the next morning, the king got up and hurried out to the lion's den. You know what this tells me? The king all night wondered, what if Daniel's God is real? What if there's a small chance? Like, maybe there's actually something to this. Daniel's a smart guy. He works really hard. Like, he's such an impressive person. Maybe there's something to the way Daniel lives and who he prays to. Maybe there's a chance. So the very next morning, the king got up and hurried out to the lion's den. Like, you just imagine the king in his morning robe, just like sprinting as fast as he can down from his castle, out to the field, out to where the lion's den is. When he got there, they had the stone removed. He calls out in anguish, "Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God whom you serve so faithfully able to rescue you from the lions?" Again, this is his thought, is maybe this God is real. Maybe this God that Daniel faithfully serves protected him. Verse 21, Daniel answers, "My God sent his angels to shut the lions' mouth so that they would not hurt me. For I have been found innocent in his sight, and I have not wronged you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. Not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. So I can't imagine the emotional roller coaster that this king was on, right? If you start out the story just from the king's perspective, it's his, some of his trusted officials like, "King, you're so awesome, everyone should worship you." He's like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then just maybe even a day or two later, he's being told that his pretty much favorite person, Daniel, broke his law, and now Daniel has to be thrown into the lion's den. So immediately the king is feeling remorse, which kings don't feel remorse, right? And now the king is feeling doubt. Kings don't feel doubt. Like, kings are always in charge. They're always right. They never second guess themselves, right? And now the king is even feeling regret. He's feeling guilt because Daniel is a good guy and he knows that Daniel doesn't deserve what's happening to him. So the king can't eat, he can't sleep, he can't enjoy anything, right? The king is absolutely locked down, overloaded with guilt, with fear, and just this overwhelming sense of dread for what's happening. Daniel, on the other hand, I wish we got more perspective, because you guys remember this part. They threw Daniel in probably near, maybe close to sundown, and then the next morning, the king ran down to go check on him, and he was fine. So Daniel spent the whole night in the lion's den. Like, could you imagine, again, not only they pushed an old man into the lion's den, which is nuts and horrible, but also there's lions in there, and they want to eat whatever falls into the lion's den. So Daniel survives the fall. He survives the initial moment of the lions, seeing him, and they don't eat him. And then he has to, hang out all night. I just picture, personally, I picture Daniel, snuggling and falling asleep, on one lion. There's, another lion, with, his head on Daniel's lap, just kind of, petting that lion. There's probably one, giving him little kisses. I don't know, I just kind of picture, the king can't eat, he can't sleep. The king's up there in his castle having the worst night of his life. And Daniel's just, basically having playtime, with, these really massive, large, deadly cats. But Daniel's sleeping fine. Daniel's not in trouble. Daniel's not worried. And he certainly isn't hurt. Because this last story, this last lesson from the Exiles series really kind of comes back around to the freedom, to the just pure joy that we have when we follow God. Right? So when we're living in our own power, when we're living on just whatever I think is best, whatever I think, is smart, whatever, it's just all about me, then just like the king, we find ourselves in these crippling moments of fear and anxiety, of self-doubt, of just dread and guilt that I made the wrong decision, I wasn't good enough, I messed up, I disappointed somebody I like is now mad at me, right? Like the king, all these different emotions. Daniel, whose life and everything he did was focused on faithfully trusting God, has none of that. The full desire of his life is to serve God, right? To live well, love well, live Jesus, believe big. That's pretty much sums up Daniel's life. And Daniel has no guilt. Daniel has no fear. He has no anxiety for these things because he knows that the most important person in the world, the most important person in history that he could live for and make decisions for and really try to honor isn't himself, and it's not his neighbors, it's not the king, it's not the other wise men, it's not that girl, it's not that guy. Daniel's living to serve and honor God. And so when he's doing that, he has no guilt because he knows without a doubt, I'm doing the right thing. For us, we come to all of these different relationships in our life, and I keep looking around at these imaginary people, but I just think about, hey, my friends, I want to do well by my friends. I want to honor them. I want to give them, encouragement. I want them to like me and be impressed. And maybe there's this relationship. I remember when I met Emily, I want to impress her. I want to make her happy and make her like me. And I'm always nervous. Well, what if she doesn't like me? Or what if I say the wrong thing and this relationship's ruined or it's over? And what if I made my friends mad and I've lost this friendship? And what if this group of people doesn't think I'm good enough? And what if this group of people doesn't think, that maybe I hurt them, I said the wrong thing? If I'm always focused on me feeling good by everyone else, and I'm focusing on me making these groups of people happy and making these groups of people impressed, and I'm trying to follow all of their rules and all of their expectations, one, I'm never going to meet everybody's expectations. I'm never going to be fully the person that everyone in the world is approving of, everyone in the world agrees with, and everyone is happy with. I can only and should only focus that my life, that the things I do and say are pointing and focusing on Jesus. And I'm not going to disappoint God because God loves me. God knew everything that I was going to do right or wrong, and he still sent Jesus down from heaven to die on the cross for you and for me. So I know that I can't disappoint God because God loves me, God loves you. God has a plan for your life. And if you will surrender in an exile season, in the craziest year of 2020, if you'll take this opportunity to say yes to who God is. Maybe I want to get baptized, but I'm nervous about what other people are going to think. I want to get that moment to stand in front of others and say, this is who Jesus is. And when I get baptized, I go into the water and I die to myself. I put all of my old self down and I'm raised to walk in new life the way that Jesus was killed on the cross and rose on the third day on Easter Sunday. Everything about baptism points the world to who Jesus is. So I want to make the decision to get baptized. And I'm not going to be afraid of what other people think because I'm not trying to impress them. I'm just focused on who God is and what he wants from me in my life. You guys, I hope we take this series of being an exile and we carry it into this school year. That even if things get crazier, and who knows, the world's a crazy place, we know who God is. We know that this is a season to build and grow our life. That our life every day has an adventure, an opportunity, a story to be told. And if God is the center of it, it's going to be an amazing story. I promise you that. It's going to be an amazing story. So as we take every day one at a time, one step at a time, let's take that opportunity to love and worship God. Let's take the opportunity to grow and build our faith and to lead by example. To be like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, to be these people that influence and impress others by their faith and love for God. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you again soon.